Hi, Jared from Visuals by Impulse, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to set up the Counting Crowns win counter, how to bring the assets in and group them into a scene inside of OBS, as well as how to control those animations with hotkeys, and also how to launch the auto hotkey script and then link the exact same hotkey into OBS to cue the animation. Notice that we have the auto hotkey script, the design assets, the icons for the Stream Deck, as well as the Stream Deck profile. Inside of OBS, let's go ahead and create a new scene. We're going to call this win counter. Now, once we have our scene created, let's go ahead and go into our main folder here and let's go into the design. You'll notice in the backgrounds, we have several different colors. I'm going to go with red, and then I'm going to come over here and we're going to bring in the animations. So go into the animations folder, and you'll notice in here, we have the crown and the win animation. As well, we have some new releases with the knight helmet, the witch hat, and the wizard hat to go with the new season. So let's go ahead and bring in the crown, and let's also bring in the win. It's very important that these go in this order of background, and then the win, and then the crown. And where the crown is, you can either replace that with the wizard hat, the witch hat, or the knight helmet. Let's change this to red background. We're going to change this to new win. And we'll also rename this to crown loop. Inside of the crown loop, you're going to want to go to the properties and tell it to loop, and also close file when inactive. That'll make sure the crown is looping and not disappearing on us. And also inside of the new win properties, let's go ahead and set that to close file when inactive also. So now that we have all our layers organized and set up, we're going to create a new text layer, and we're going to call this the win number. And this is what's going to be driven by our auto hotkey script. So go ahead and say read from file, and we're going to browse to the Counting Crowns auto hotkey folder, and then the Counting Crowns text file. Hit open. Now this is what's going to be driven by the auto hotkey script and sent to OBS through this text file. So now we're going to set up the font. It's Titan 1 if you want to go with the one we've prepared. And we're going to also tell the extents to be custom. And that way we can align it in the center here, and we'll go with 700 by 250, I believe. And then we'll go ahead and drag this to where we want it. And once we set this up where we want the number to be located, we can go ahead and make sure that the win number is underneath the new win layer. And you'll see why, because that needs to overlap the number there. And that's when it changes. While everything's set up correctly here, let's go ahead and highlight everything and hit group selected items. And we're going to call this the win counter group. And now you can transform this in center to screen. You could also scale it down and put it wherever you want, but I'll go ahead and keep it in the center of the screen here. Now, if we want to create a gameplay screen, we can right click in here and hit add scene and select our win counter. So it'll import that scene into this main scene, which we can bring wherever we want. We can scale it way down, put it at the top, or put it at the bottom, or wherever we want to for our scene setup. So now we need this auto hotkey script to cue our number, and we also need OBS to know that when that same exact hotkey is pressed, that it's going to reset this win animation. So go into the settings, find your hotkeys, and now in the layer new win down here for restart, we're going to say Control-Shift-1 and hit apply. So now when we hit Control-Shift-1, that animation will cue. And now once we go over here and run our auto hotkey script, so go ahead and launch this, hit more info and hit run anyway. Now down here, you'll see that there's a little auto hotkey script icon that says Counting Crowns EXE. And now when you hit Control-Shift-1, you'll see that it cues the animation, and now the number is 2. So let's go over some hotkeys here. In order to add a win, we know it's Control-Shift-1. But let's say you added a win by mistake and you want to subtract, you can go ahead and hit Control-Shift-2. And then in order to start fresh and reset the win value, go ahead and hit Control-Shift-3. So Control-Shift-1 adds a win, Control-Shift-2 decreases a win, and then Control-Shift-3 resets to 0. And I feel like now that I see the 2 there, I want to bring this up a little bit, and I can even go into my main gameplay screen over here, and I can move this where I want it within the gameplay screen. And I just want again, so Control-Shift-1. And now it's 3. So if I want to go inside of my win counter and swap these out for some different loopable animations, let's go ahead and do that now. So once back into my win counter group here, I can go ahead and bring in the assets for the knight helmet, the witch hat, and the wizard hat. So let's go ahead and bring all 3 of these in. And one by one, I can resize these to where I want them to be. And I think that Somewhere around here is a good spot for that. We'll do the same thing for the witch hat. It's a little large, so we'll bring it down a bit and put it like right there. And the night hat will do the same thing. We'll resize that a little bit. And oh, there you go. I forgot. We have to set these properties to be a loop as well as close when inactive. So let's go ahead and do that for all of these. Loop and close when inactive on the properties for the witch hat as well as the wizard hat. So once you have done that, now we can put them in the proper spot. I'll click all these, bring them down in here, and I can toggle on which one I want. So right now I just want the wizard hat to be visible. I'll put it where I want it. And now when I go into my gameplay scene, I'll notice that my wizard hat is the one that's visible. And if I hit Control-Shift-1, it'll still work just as expected. The auto hotkey script is generating the text file to have another value. The auto hotkey script is sending the new value to the text file, which is being read by our number. And then also the Control-Shift-1 is what cues this animation to be on top of the number as it switches. So it's a pretty seamless setup here. We can put it where we want. We can even have it be pretty big down here, and we can go in and set which asset we want to be visible. One thing we need to do on this new in layer is in the properties, hit restart playback when source becomes active. So go ahead and uncheck that, because otherwise every time we load the scene, it's going to go ahead and play the animation. But we only want the animation to play when we cue it. Control-Shift-1. Let's go in and change this now to the wizard hat, or let's see the knight helmet, and go back into our gameplay scene. And over here, Control-Shift-1, and that will play our animation. Do it again, and change the number. So now that you're all set up, go ahead and have some fun with this. Put it in your stream however it works best. Make it small, make it big. Just know that we're gonna have some exciting updates coming, and going with the seasons, we're gonna have some animated backgrounds and some different animated looping assets to go on top. So if you have any trouble at all setting this up, please do not hesitate to reach out and let us know. That's what we're here for.